Today we're going to talk about MiraMate Flash. MiraMate Flash has been out for quite a few weeks now. We've had people report back their stunning results that they've had with Flash. And we thought we'd form a Q&A so that we can answer some of the questions that people have asked since the release. So without further ado, I'll share my screen. Okay, Flash Q&A. Well, there we have our Flash. Flash is like a gun. It's a very simple product to use. It has two buttons. It's got a button on the top to both turn it on and to select the power level. And it's got a trigger, as all guns should have. Okay, what is the story behind the development of Flash? Now, we discovered early on that VUV is a very good way of killing germs, broad spectrum. Doesn't matter whether the germ is a simple germ or if it's a killer virus. VUV will knock it out. Now, many of you will be very aware of the old style of violet wands. Early on, the very start of the 19th century, these were in most medical practices, and they worked fairly well for skin conditions. But they went out of favour. They went out of favour mostly because of the big push for the pharmaceuticals. They also were largely ridiculed by many in the medical field. But they did work. They worked okay. They didn't work amazingly well. They worked okay because they did actually produce an ultraviolet. Ultraviolet light appears purple. That's ultraviolet C. Ultraviolet C is a very long wavelength. Now the ultraviolet, which does the real killing power, the real good stuff, has got a much shorter wavelength. It's closer to the wavelength of the cells of the pathogens. There's ultraviolet C, which is quite long, ultraviolet B, which is shorter, A, and then we get into VUV. VUV is the very shortest of the ultraviolet wavelengths. VUV stands for vacuum ultraviolet because it will pass through a vacuum easily. It doesn't pass through air very well at all. So we designed a machine that produces a VUV flash. We started doing this over 2 years ago. We wanted to confirm the effectiveness of the flash prototypes. We were flashing the skin pots of volunteers. And I was one of them, of course. And now I've got nary a mark on my body. It really does deal to things like age spots and warts and other little things which are pathogen based. Now, age spots, since the early tests, we've had reports back that other people's age spots haven't really succumbed to the effects of Flash. I guess the difference is if the age spot has a pathogen origin, if it's a harbour of viruses or bacteria, then it will disappear. Just as a wart will disappear if it's got a viral basis and you flash it. But if it's a birthmark or something similar, hereditary, then Flash may not have an effect. Remember, the VUV kills the pathogens. If there's no pathogens to kill, then you won't see the effect. We hired a professional test laboratory to see how effective Flash was on malignant melanoma. This melanoma is deadly. It's very common, and so this is why we chose it. Now, after 24 hours, over 91% of the cancer cells had died. And after 2 days, the death rate increased, which proves that the cells which Flash disable don't recover. It's a one-way street. That's an important thing to remember. It's easy to knock something back, but quite often it will come back with a vengeance. You'll notice this with antibiotics sometimes. You take a course of antibiotics, you get off the antibiotics, and then you get hit again real hard. It's a bit of an unfair analogy because your immune system will be compromised after the course of antibiotics, but the few remaining bugs in your body will multiply quickly, and when your immune system isn't able to keep their numbers down, you'll be overwhelmed. We used an existing IPL gun for Flash to keep the development costs down. We could focus on the tube and the driving electronics for the gun. The tube uses a very special glass type. VUV doesn't pass through normal glass. It's got to be ultra pure. It's a sort of glass which they use only in laboratories. It's not used in the glass you know in houses or in your glasses. They don't use this special type of glass. And the reason is it's just so expensive. Now, when we were developing it, to get a tiny square of glass for use for the front lens of our Flash unit was over $100 US. Because we're now into production, we've managed to get the price a little bit down and pass on the savings onto our consumers. For all the manufacturers that are within China, America, and the Ukraine, there's only one manufacturer who could make the Flash tube within Flash to our specifications. So what features does Flash have? Well, it's, in our humble opinion, the most advanced VUV light device on the market. As I said before, it's only got 2 buttons to operate, so it's real easy to use. It's got a very low operating cost. It's cheaper to use than a shaver. It's safe because VUV doesn't destroy human cells. It's got a long life expectancy. The tube lasts for over 300,000 flashes. And it uses well-researched, proven technology. This isn't something that we've just plucked out of thin air. We've followed through on the technical journals, the published journals, which prove beyond a doubt both the viral killing efficiency and the safety of vacuum ultraviolet. So what is the wavelength of Flash? The wavelength is between, most of the light is between 180 and 222 nanometers. There is some light which is above that, and that's the visible light that you can see. Most of the light is invisible. And how much time does a single flash have? Well, I guess what they're asking is, what is the duration of the flash? Is it on all the time, or is it truly just a brief burst? And it is just a flash. It's just like when you take a photograph in the dark. It's that kind of flash. Is Flash battery powered? Gosh, if only. No, it needs a mains power adapter. The flash intensity is very, very strong. If it was battery powered, the unit would have been much heavier and larger. What is the effective treatment area for flash, and how far does the VUV light penetrate? Well, flash will only treat the area that has received the ultraviolet light, and so that is the square window at the front of flash. So to treat large areas, you should move it by small increments after each flash. The VUV does not penetrate very far into the skin. Which parts of the body can flash be used for? Can flash be used on broken skin or ulcerated skin? Well, flash can be used on skin that is scarred, ulcerated, or cut. It can be used anywhere except for the eyes and inside the mouth. Sensitive skin should be treated with caution and care. We have had people flash inside their mouths, they flash their gums, and they flash down their throat. They reported back to us that they had no problems with that. It's a general warning that we give because your sensitive mucous membranes are in your throat or inside your mouth. And it's very sensitive, it can't be dried out. I guess if you don't flash very much, you only need one flash to give the viruses a real bad headache and knock down their numbers. You don't need to go and flash for a lot of times. Then it might be okay. But our general warning is not to do inside your mouth and on your eyes. The light intensity is very bright, so definitely don't do your eyes. Okay, this person asks, how can I protect my eyes from the flash light? I've got very high light sensitivity. And this person wants to treat other people with perhaps 10 to 200 flashes. It's a lot of flashes. Or you can use goggles from sun tanning salons. Or you can use goggles or glasses made for LED or infrared treatments. I think that we can buy the protection goggles from us as well, because we supply goggles with flash. You supply one pair of goggles with each flash. So if you need two, then just let us know and then we can add that to the order. Can you use flash on your neck? Well, some people have already used flash on their neck and it's had no problem whatsoever. Why do you have a punch card to guard the surface around what you are treating? Is it unsafe to treat the area so that it needs to be guarded? Time for a kefir. That's a very good question. Well, flash is safe for the surrounding skin, but it's unnecessary to flash the skin if it's healthy. If your skin is very sensitive to ultraviolet light, the surrounding skin may turn red. If you use the masking sticker, you can apply the full intensity of the vacuum ultraviolet light to the spot where you want the treatment to take place, and you won't get any reddening of the skin around that spot if your skin is sensitive. How long and how often should we use flash? Well, you can use flash once a day. The general rule of thumb is 10 flashes each time. You can use maximum power. If your condition is very severe, you can flash more often. Start off with fewer flashes and increase each day, so you know what your personal threshold is. You don't want to have squares of red on your body. Is there a guide explaining what power level and how many flashes we should use for different skin conditions? If your skin is not sensitive to flash after the initial trial, you can use, I'll move my, you can use level 5, 10 flashes each time for normal skin conditions. Level 5 is the maximum power. If the skin issues are more serious, you can flash more, and this makes the effects more effective. You may want to use the stickers we've talked about just before to protect other parts of your skin. And we supply stickers. The stickers are not special, they're just normal paper stickers. You can buy them at any stationery store, by the way. Can flash be used for animals and plants? Well, yes, you can use them for animals and plants. Now this photograph is showing us flashing a plant. Plants are easier to photograph than animals because animals have a habit of running away. And we don't have many animals in the office, but we've got some plants, so we've shown plants. Can we use flash for pain relief? Now, flash was designed for skin problems, but one American doctor found flash to be quite effective for pain relief. And since then, he's purchased quite a few flash units. We don't know the protocol that he used, unfortunately. He did give the warning not to flash directly over the spine. We received pain relief reviews from some flash users. So if you do have a pain issue in your body, perhaps you can try flash and see if there are any good results. Unfortunately, as I said, we haven't got a proper protocol to give to you. But maybe if you flash over the painful area, and the results from flash, both with killing pathogens and with pain relief, should be pretty much instantaneous. So it won't take long for you to realize whether it's working or not. It's not like you've got to wait for 5 hours for something to take effect. Does MiraMate Flash help fungus, warts, or eczema? Actually, it's a funny sentence, isn't it? You don't want anything to help fungus, you want it to destroy fungus. So I'll reword that. Does MiraMate Flash help remove fungus, warts, and eczema? Well, yeasts are devastated by flash. Vacuum ultraviolet totally halts yeast and fungus conditions in its track. And so certainly warts are caused by viruses. Warts, when you flash them, they'll just basically peel off and go away very quickly without the use of any topical creams. The point is, flash can target the cause of the health conditions and remove the cause, and then your body just does the normal cleanup. Now, eczema, the specific cause remains unknown. That's when I say this, the cause is known, but it's unknown in regular medical circles and journals. And they say there's no cure for it. Well, we know that there is, but we'll stick with the narrative. Eczema is where patches of your skin become inflamed, itchy, red, cracked, and feeling rough. It's a very, very frustrating condition, something you can have for a long time. Now, flash can improve these symptoms and heal the affected skin, which does indicate that the cause of eczema is pathogen. And the symptoms should not return after using flash, because flash has removed the cause. And here we have a wart. On day 0, it shows the wart on the person's elbow. It's happily buried itself into this poor person's skin. It's been there for a while. After 7 days of flashing, the warts jumped off his skin. Your body has repelled the wart, that lump of skin. And look at day 16. Wart? What wart? This was an established wart that had been there for a while. And Flash killed the viruses which were harbored within the wart. And your skin just exfoliated the wart naturally. And we've got eczema in the bottom left here. This person's got eczema on their foot. And then you can see that the eczema is gone now on photograph number 4. I don't know what the time duration was between the start and finish. Generally, Flash works very quickly. It works in a flash. So it would be only a matter of days. And this is a wrist fungus. It had been there for, I think, 2 years or more. It was a large lump. You can't see a profile of it, but you can see where it's pale and round. It's like a little mountain on that poor person's wrist. On photo number 2, that is a profile photo. It shows that the lump has gone down to virtually nothing, and the colour of that skin has returned to normal. The fungus has gone. What's left are the extra skin cells, and they're slowly being sloughed off. Has anyone had success in treating shingles with Flash? Gosh, shingles is dreadful. It's caused by a virus, which is located in nerve tissue near your spinal cord in the brain. It's really dangerous, when you think about it. The formal line is there's no cure for shingles. We all know better than that. Now, Flash may relieve the painful rash where the skin is blistering. It's important to increase your immunity and reduce stress to speed up the natural healing process. Flash has helped a lot with people that have got shingles, because shingles can be also deeper within your body. The virus harbors there. It's hard to resolve completely, but certainly on your skin, it can resolve what you can see as a result of this virus. Does Flash get rid of seborrheic keratosis? That's a skin growth that some people develop as they age. Now, in theory, it can help reduce their size and their colour. But because they're abnormal skin cells, they're not pathogen-based. It may not have much of an effect. If it was a condition like a wart, which is viral-based, it'd get wiped out, literally in seconds. Can I use Flash on the lowest power level to help eye infections on the lower lid? Now, Flash doesn't penetrate the skin, but if you're using it close to your eyes, you've got to use extreme caution. Even if you close your eyelids, it's possible that some of the longer wavelengths within Flash may pass through the eyelids. Perhaps you can use a cardboard mask, but use extreme caution. You can try MiriMate, which is a pulsed EMF device, and that is much safer. You can place those coils over your eyes safely. Can we use Flash to help cherry angiomas, which are harmless, small and bright red moles? Well, they're benign tumours, but anything that's got the word tumour in it isn't particularly nice, is it? Now, we've had people report back that Flash has helped them tremendously with these lumps. We've had some people say that they haven't had tremendous results. So your mileage may vary, but you can certainly try it. The good thing with Flash is that once you've got it, you can treat the conditions that you know Flash will work for, which are the warts, skin cancers, acne. Gosh, acne gets wiped out very quickly. And then you've got Flash you can use on other spots as well, and try your luck with them. Scabies mite. Will Flash be able to create an inhospitable environment so that these mites die? Now, this is an important thing about vacuum ultraviolet. It creates copious amounts of ozone and nitrous oxide. These two gases kill life as we know it. It doesn't kill us because we're breathing air. We are a macroorganism. But where the vacuum ultraviolet is being applied to your skin, and that small point in your skin is totally enveloped with the ozone and nitrous oxide. And so any small organism that's living there can't survive. And so the mites will be killed. You can flash with 10 flashes at maximum power, and then you can increase the number of flashes if you need to. Does Flash work for freckles? Oh, gorgeous freckles. Now, freckles are where the pigments of your skin are more concentrated in spots of your skin. Now, there are theories, when I say theory, there are papers which report that overactive melanocytes can be removed using VUV without damaging normal skin cells. So you can try. I'd have to ask the question why, because freckles are self. They're a part of you. They're like a birthmark, a beauty mark. But if you are self-conscious, you think you've got too many freckles, you can give Flash a try. Be very, very careful, because freckled skin quite often is very pale around the freckles. Pale skin, you need to test under low power first with Flash to see what your safety threshold levels are for the power and the number of flashes that your skin can handle. Can we moisturize your skin after using Flash? Yeah, why not? You're supposed to wait half an hour. Why would you wait half an hour? It's strange, isn't it? Well, that's what's written there, so it must be right. But it was me. I put my moisturizer on straight away. But actually, it's a very good point. Make sure when you do Flash, you've got no skin products on your skin. Virtually any creams, oils that you put on your skin will block vacuum ultraviolet. Vacuum ultraviolet is very difficult to pass through solids, or solutions. So make sure that you wash using normal soap and you dry your skin before you apply Flash. Okay, how long does it take to see any effect of Flash? Well, it depends on the severity of the problem and how long you've had the problem. Now, results are normally instantaneous. In most cases, a single treatment is all that's required, but it might take a while for your skin to naturally slough off, which means rub off and just fall off. through normal processing. Especially so if your skin's got thick as a result of something like that wrist fungus infection I showed you earlier, it'll take a while for your skin to become flat again. And you can easily repeat the treatments if necessary. Gosh, I got the time wrong. That wrist fungus infection was 6 years. I thought it was 2. 6 years that fungus infection was on this person's wrist. Gosh, if you've got a lump for 6 years, you'd almost want to give it a name. But a month of treatments of Flash took it to where it was, where it returned to normal colour and was reducing in size. Flash does truly work very, very quickly. If you want to see how sensitive your skin is to the effects of vacuum ultraviolet, flash yourself and wait for the next day. It takes generally 24 hours for your skin to change colour if it's reacting to the vacuum ultraviolet. So don't flash your skin and then look straight away and think, well, it's not turned red, I'm good to go. Give yourself 24 hours. Does Flash have any side effects? Side effects is a word that means serious, undesirable things that happen. Side effects is a term they use for medications. The side effect of death is also called a side effect. But no, Flash has got no side effects, thank goodness. Well, symptoms return after using Flash. And no, it won't. If something's dead, it's dead. Unless cancer and pathogen cells discover a way of coming back to life. And our lab trials prove that the cells which are disabled don't rise from the ashes to re-proliferate. They continue dying. Now, can Flash be used together with other MiraMate products, such as Mini Magic, Big Magic, and Joint Aid? Well, yes, they can be used simultaneously. Is Flash superior to colloidal silver? Well, that's a question that has got that warrants a very, very long answer. I'll see what the textbook answer is. Well, you can't compare one against the other, which is fair enough. They do different things and they could complement each other. And this is the answer that I would give too, You should use a multi-pronged approach to health issues. There may be one thing that works extremely well, like Flash, but complement that with other things, immune boosting compounds that help your body naturally remove the toxins, remove the pathogens which are making your life miserable. If you attack a problem from many angles, then you're more guaranteed success. Okay, well, that's the end of the presentation. Let's have a look at what questions were asked. It would appear that nothing was forwarded to me in Eczema, which means Joy is offline. So I will go through manually. Okay. Kamala, you have asked, can Flash be used on surface tumours? Absolutely. There's not many things that you can legally say, and with all honesty, that will kill cancer on your skin. Well, we did. Actually, we ended up doing 3 lab trials. We published. It's Sama must have thought I'd said, hey, Sama, hey, Siri. Okay, well, we did 3 lab trials because we didn't believe the results of the first one, and then after the first 2, they were too good. And each subsequent trial confirmed the results of the previous ones. devastates, it just wipes out cancer cells. It just wipes it out, and it doesn't destroy normal cells. So yes, without a doubt, surface tumors will disappear. If it's a very large tumor, it might take several flashes. But because flash costs less than you're Australian, so I can use cents, less than a cent a day. If you flash a lot of times, it's nothing. So just do it. And 300,000 flashes per tube, it's like forever. So give it all you've got. Can flash be used on surfaces to kill a virus? So that's a question asked by Bev Wright. Bev Wright's a New Zealander, and New Zealand's now got. We had one person with coronavirus, then it went 2, then it went 5, 6, and now it's 20 just overnight. This is the way the coronavirus has spread. The way it spreads, it starts off very slowly. People think, oh, it's nothing, and then suddenly, wham! We've got Italy now reeling from the effects of the virus, and they've taken very powerful measures, strong measures, to try and contain the virus. So this question is a very good question and very relevant, because people are very concerned about the coronavirus on surfaces. Yes, if you flash a surface with flash, there will be no virus of any type or any live virus where you flashed. So you can flash surfaces with flash. Absolutely. Carmela, you say you cured a cold sore, herpes, in 2 days with the flash, and this was on the lips. It's interesting, Carmela, we haven't tried flash on cold sores yet. But it's interesting, very, very interesting. If something has got a viral cause, flash will wipe it out, and it will wipe it out in a flash. Now, Carmela, did you use a sticker or any mask around the cold sore, or did you just apply the gun directly to the cold sore and flash it? That's something I'd be interested to know. Okay, Bev, you're asking, UV light is used to treat tank drinking water. Can flash be used for small amounts, i.e. a glass of water? Okay, well, no. And I'll explain why. VUV does not pass through normal glass. So a glass of water, which is a glass of normal glass, that will block all the VUV. VUV will not pass at all through that. The small amounts of the higher ultraviolet that reaches the water may have some effect, but it won't have a devastating effect. VUV doesn't like passing through anything. It's why you've got to put the flash pretty much against your skin, ideally touching your skin when you start the flashing. And if you theoretically shine flash directly on the top of the water in flash, then maybe yes, you're not passing through glass, but you're passing through air on the way to the water. And the air also attenuates or reduces the signal strength of the photons which are passing to the water. So you wouldn't flash the water through the glass, you'd flash it from the top. You'd want to be very, very careful not to immerse the flash in the water. To vacuum ultraviolet, glass is like might as well be a plate of steel. And as you know, plates of steel do not allow light to pass through them. Carmela, you're asking about an open tumor. An open tumor will work well. You can use flash on open wounds. It doesn't damage or cause any harm to the tissue, the subcutaneous or deeper tissue, which is exposed to the air. So if you've cut yourself, before you close the wound, you can flash the wound to kill any viruses any fungal spores that have found their way into the cuts. Now, you all know when you cut yourself and you put a bandage on, you peek under the bandage a day later, inevitably the cut will have a circle of red around it. That is not necessarily the body healing itself. That is the body fighting the germs that have gone into the cut. The red is the inflammation, which is caused by the white blood cells killing the germs. If you flash the cut before you put the bandage on, you won't get that red surrounding the cut. All you'll see is your normal skin color and the cut there healing extra fast. And Kamala has reported back, and she has said that the cold sore that she flashed wasn't masked by any sticker or any cardboard mask. She just put the gun directly to the cold sore and flashed it. Okay, Joy has passed on a message from Carrie. Carrie from Facebook has asked, let's have a look. I'll just check something. Okay. I have a much lighter freckled skin, and Flash doesn't seem to be working so well. It's definitely helped, but nothing like I see helping her. I wonder what that means. If you've got freckled skin, okay, I'll summarize. This person's got very light freckled skin. It doesn't seem to be helping plantar warts or liver spots. It has helped a questionable growth that popped up on this person's face. And they can handle about 5 flashes on high. And do I have any suggestions? Well, for things like warts, use a masking sticker to surround the sensitive skin that's around the wart and give it more flashes. So that won't affect your pale skin that's around the warts. And in that way, you'll be able to increase the number of flashes to perhaps 10. And that should give a much greater intensity of ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is putting high energy photons of light into your, subjecting your cells, the viral cells to this high energy. If you double the number of flashes from 5 to 10, it's more than double the effect. So if you can raise it to 10, you may find that the effects are much better. It's always difficult if your skin is very, very sensitive to ultraviolet, because you'd like to put more flashes onto your skin, but you know that your skin's going to turn red. But if you use the mask, then you can safely apply more flashes. Carrie is saying that people are telling me that ultraviolet might help the coronavirus. Well, help as in help remove the coronavirus. And Carrie's asking if flash will also help. Well, absolutely. Flash, if you have flash close to the coronavirus, there's no virus that can survive flash. So it can be coronavirus, it could be any other type of virus. Flash will totally disable it completely. How would you use flash? Well, flash has got a small area of application. It's only a tiny window. And so if you're flashing, if you've got a large surface area you want to treat, let's say you want to treat the keyboard of your computer, you'd flash it maybe once or twice in one area, then move it 10 millimeters, which is just under half an inch, and then flash again, and then move along. If you use it repeating flash, you can just continuously move it along the keyboard. If you where the light strikes the keyboard, the viruses will be removed. So it's very good that way. If you've got a tickle in your throat, I know that our formal warning is not to flash inside your mouth. But we have people doing it, and they're doing it without any problems. So, especially with this coronavirus, which is very serious, and you think that you've had someone sneeze near you, and you couldn't help but breathe in, and then you realise afterwards, gosh, you know, I think it's gone into my body. Well, the coronavirus latches onto your mucous membranes. That's your nose, that's your mouth, and your throat. So in that case, I'd be myself inclined to flash inside my mouth and probably up my nose as well. I wouldn't flash very much. I wouldn't flash 10 times, I guess, at maximum power, but maybe 2 or 3 times. Now, another person has said, I don't know who it is, Flash is working like a charm for my mum, who is 90 and of Irish descent. She is a darker Caucasian. Has removed moles, age spots, questionable facial growths, white marks, which we recall reverse freckles, and they're dried up and filled with melanin. She handles 10 flashes on high power with no problem. But this person's got much lighter freckled skin, and it doesn't seem to be working so well. It's helped, but nothing like as much as it's helped her mother. It's helping their plantar warts or liver spots, and it's helped a questionable growth that popped up on their face. This sounds like Carrie that's talking, and I've suggested using a mask and raising the power. It is difficult if your skin is very sensitive to light, because of course vacuum ultraviolet will apply high energy light to your skin, and your skin may react. And Bev is commenting that New Zealand has now got a case up in Northland, the very top of New Zealand. And it's quite a country type of area, and the coronavirus has now reached its evil tentacles up there, and someone's become infected. There's nowhere that's safe, nowhere which is really 100% sure that the coronavirus hasn't reached. So, yeah, if you can use any method to keep yourself safe, including flash, then do so. Now, Carmela Walker has commented that she's found flash to remove bursitis pain and the puffiness, just in case anyone's interested. Well, we're all interested, Carmela. It's very good to know. So the key thing is you get flash for a specific purpose. It might be for warts, it might be for cold sores. Now Carmela has told us it's great for cold sores. And you use it for that function. Now, rather than just putting flash into a cupboard, you keep it out and you use it for other things. You think, gosh, I've got an age spot. Okay, I've been told that it may not work for age spots, but John White told me it worked for his age spots. Not that I've got any, mind you. I'll call them beauty marks. So I'll try them. And if it works, it's great. Flash has already fulfilled its function. So you can use it for other things as well, and see whether it works for them as well. Okay, Thomas Taylor has asked the question, is it appropriate for using flash on dark moles? And if so, how long to subject it to flashes? If you've got dark moles, it might be a mole that you've had your entire life, in which case it might be part of yourself. It may not be a viral cause or caused by viruses, but you'll soon find out. You cut out on the sticker, the masking sticker, a hole that's the same size as the mole, and you place it around the mole, so only the mole is exposed. You flash the mole directly, you touch the mole with flash, and you start flashing away. If the mole changes appearance, if the mole disappears, falls off, then you know that there was that viruses, bacteria cause that mole to grow. You'd flash perhaps 10 times on maximum power initially, if it's masked. If you can handle that without any problem, then you can increase the number of flashes easily. Okay, and Carrie, that's an old question. Okay, and the coronavirus, Carrie, that was you. Yes, it can be used for coronavirus. Just flash the surfaces, each little section of the surface at a time, and coronavirus or viruses will be destroyed completely. Thomas Taylor is asking, is flashing supposed to be done daily? And for how many days, assuming 5 or 10 flashes per session? Well, yeah, you can flash daily, you can flash every second day. If you start flashing in an area that's never been flashed before, just flash it maybe 3 or 5 times and see what the effect is the next day. And if there's no skin reddening, then you've got skin that can handle the high energy vacuum ultraviolet. And then you can increase the number of flashes to 10 flashes and just keep on flashing until the condition resolves. It's not like a drug where you've got a dosage. You can overdose. You don't overdose on sunlight unless you get sunburn. And so if your skin changes color, then you know that you're reaching the point where you should reduce the number of flashes. Just one point as well, flash we found was more effective under high power than low power. But I'll qualify that rather obvious silly statement. If you flashed once, it's better than flashing low power 5 times. The average power, total photon energy may be the same, but it's better to hit it with a hammer than tap it lots of times very gently with a feather. And so if you can, apply flash under maximum power at all times, but just change the number of times that you are doing the flashing. Okay, well, that's all the questions that I know. I can't see any other questions that have come up. Well, I know we've held several flash, well, not we've had one flash seminar before, but I've had several instructional videos of flash, how to use them. And there's been a few things I've covered before, but there's been a few other things that I've added into the Q&A because people have used flash for a while. They've become used to the idea and they've got a few questions that hadn't been answered in previous presentations. In particular, this coronavirus and how specifically flash can be used for that. I suggest that you flash your keyboard with flash to make sure that the coronavirus doesn't settle there. Wash your hands thoroughly with soap, 20 seconds minimum. Make sure your immune system is boosted. You can use liposomal vitamin C, liposomal glutathione, which is what this one is. It's a mixture of the two, to boost your immune system and keep yourself healthy. Kamna is asking a question: does flash, if someone's doing chemotherapy makes people have, their skin becomes more photosensitive. Can you safely use flash for someone that's doing chemotherapy? Well, if someone is doing chemotherapy, especially if it's for skin cancer or something which you can see on the skin, I'd still be inclined to try flash, but I'd tone it down a little bit, Carmela. I wouldn't tone the power level down, but I'd maybe even just go down to flashing once. I would flash once and then give it 24 hours and look very, very carefully, see whether their skin has handled that single flash okay. Then if it has, on day number 2, increase it to 2 flashes, and then perhaps 4 flashes. Do it incrementally, because your skin does get sensitive to sunlight. How sensitive? Well, that's one way to find out without causing harm. Flash isn't a drug. Flash is not something new. Every time you go out into sunlight, you're subjecting yourself to ultraviolet. What you're doing is subjecting yourself to the very dangerous wavelengths of ultraviolet, the longer wavelengths. Ultraviolet C is the strongest, smaller amounts of ultraviolet B, and maybe a teaspoon of ultraviolet A. The shorter the wavelength, the less we receive, because the oxygen, all the molecules, even the dust molecules in the air, absorb the shorter wavelengths of ultraviolet. And so VUV does not touch the world normally. The sun produces vacuum ultraviolet, but it doesn't reach the earth. It gets blocked. It only takes about this much air to block or to reduce. Well, let's say it's that much air to half the energy that's being received from the ultraviolet source. Air attenuates the vacuum ultraviolet very, very strongly, which is why we say touch the head of the flash to where you want to treat her. Okay, well, that's all the things covered. Well, thank you so much for watching today's Sama. I hope that we have taught you a few things. In closing, I like to close on a positive note. I would like everyone to take extra care for the coronavirus, which is causing so much harm to global communities. Please be careful. Don't do what I've just done and rub your nose without washing your hands first. Don't touch your face, nose, anywhere around here with your hands. Try and avoid social contact. Try and avoid, or absolutely avoid crowds. Try and do if you have to do shopping, you can't do shopping online. Do shopping first thing in the morning. Be right at the door when the shop opens its doors. The counters have been cleaned the night before, and it's the safest time to go to a shop, buy what goods you need, and then come home. Don't dilly-dally, go straight home. Do not go past go, do not collect $200. Avoid any sort of public gatherings. Nowhere is safe for this virus except home. Kamala says, you guys take care as well. God bless. Well, thank you, Kamala. I'll forward that to all the viewers now. Take care, everyone. God bless. And look after yourselves. If you know people that are sick, pass the love forwards and help them. Do all you can. Don't put yourself at danger. Wear masks everywhere when you go outside. Don't worry about people staring at you because you look funny. You can draw a big smiley mouth on the mask to break the ice. Wear the mask. It's compulsory, okay? I don't want to hear anyone of you outside without a mask. And I've got people in high places there watching you. But take care, everyone. Seriously, take care. I don't want to lose any friends. Till next time. Bye-bye.